And if I go all the way to the end of the table of contents, 201, the golden key. There are over 200 stories in here. And then there's also these children's legends at the end. There's 10 of them. So it's like over 210 like separate stories in here. So this would take forever to read. I'll just read the ones, and because they're short stories, I can just read the ones that you guys are interested in. You might be able to find a master list online, or I might just put one in the description of the comments, and you can tell me your faves, and I'll do a little reading your faves kind of one. This edition is so gorgeous. I love the gold pages. This actually wasn't that expensive, I don't think. Let's see, I got it at a used bookstore, I believe. But I'm not seeing the tag, so I actually have no idea how much it was. There's a chance I took it off. But a hardcover like this would probably cost like $40-50 minimum. Oh, there it was. First page, they wrote in pencil. $13. I got this for $13. Can we just take a moment to appreciate that? That's crazy. I also want to do a mic scratching video again soon. I know you guys would enjoy that. But yeah. So, you can enjoy some page turning sounds while I attempt to find Beauty and the Beast, because it inevitably has... Oh, and there's Snow White and Rose Red. Oh, actually, I might read that one first for you guys. I don't know if you've ever heard of Snow White and Rose Red. It's different from, just Snow White. It's actually a completely different story, I believe. I actually remember that story from this Disney princess, or not Disney princess, Barbie princess book. It was a sticker book, and they had the little stories and then the little images of the Barbies for each of them, and those were like pre-Disney, so these were the Barbie dolls that went with the fairy tales, and they were the Brother Grimm ones. So they had Little Red Riding Hood, they had Snow White and Rose Red, they had Rapunzel, and these were all like the Barbie ones. They even had like Cleopatra and like Isolde, and I can't remember that one. It was very Romeo and Juliet vibes, but it was like an Irish fairy tale, I believe. Something like that. It had all of those stories. They were so lovely. I think I would like to show you guys that book. I have it somewhere. I believe it's in my room somewhere, actually. If not, I definitely still have it. I just don't remember where it is. But yeah. So let me read you guys Snow White and Rose Red. Page 100 and... Actually, sorry, it was number 162. That's not the page. 524. Page 524. See how short like these two tales are? They're each like a paragraph. That's why. Let's see, Snow White and Rose Red is actually a couple pages, so it's pretty good. So let's start with this one. There was once a poor widow who lived in a lonely cottage. In front of the cottage was a garden wherein stood 2 rose trees, one of which bore white and the other red roses. She had 2 children who were like the 2 rose trees, and one was called Snow White and the other Rose Red. They were as good and happy, as busy and cheerful as ever 2 children in the world were. Only Snow White was more quiet and gentle than Rose Red. Rose Red liked better to run about in the meadows and fields, seeking flowers and catching butterflies.
But Snow White sat at home with her mother and helped her with her homework, or read to her when there was nothing to do. The two children were so fond of each other that they always held each other by the hand when they went out together, and when Snow White said, "We will not leave each other," Rose Red answered, "Never so long as we live." And their mother would add, "What one has she must share with the other." They often ran about the forest alone and gathered red berries, and no beast did them any harm, but came close to them trustfully. The little hare would eat a cabbage leaf out of their hands, the deer grazed by their side, the stag leapt merrily by them, and the birds sat still upon the boughs and sang whatever they knew. No trouble found them. If they had stayed too late in the forest and night came, they laid themselves down near one another upon the moss and slept until morning came, and their mother knew this and had no distress on their account. Once when they had spent the night in the woods and the dawn had awakened them, they saw a beautiful child in a shining white dress sitting near their bed. He got up and looked quite kindly at them, but said nothing, and went away into the forest. And when they looked around, they found that they had been sleeping quite close to a pit, and would certainly have fallen into the darkness if they had gone only a few paces darker. And their mother told them that it must have been an angel who watches over good children. Snow White and Rose Red kept their mother's little cottage so neat that it was a pleasure to look inside it. In the summer, Rose Red took care of the house, and every morning laid a wreath of flowers by her mother's bed before she awoke, in which was a rose from each tree. In the winter, Snow White lit the fire and hung the kettle on the hob. The kettle was of copper and shone like gold, so brightly was it polished. In the evening, when the snowflakes fell, the mother said, "Go, Snow White, and bolt the door." And then they sat round the hearth, and the mother took her spectacles and read aloud of a large book, and the two girls listened as they sat and spun. And close by them lay a lamb upon the floor, and behind them upon a perch sat a white dove with its head hidden beneath its wings. One evening, as they were thus sitting comfortably together, someone knocked at the door as if he wished to be let in. The mother said, "Quick!" Rose Red opened the door. It must be a traveler who is seeking shelter. Rose Red went and pushed back the bolt, thinking it was a poor man, but it was not. It was a bear that stretched his broad black head within the door. Rose Red screamed and sprang back. The lamb bleated, the dove fluttered, and Snow White hid herself behind her mother's bed, but the bear began to speak and said, "Do not be afraid, I will do you no harm. I am half frozen and only want to warm myself a little beside you." "Poor bear," said the mother, "lie down by the fire, only take care of that you do not burn your coat." Then she cried, "Snow White, Rose Red, come out, the bear will do you no harm, he means well." So they both came out, and the lamb and dove came nearer and were not afraid of him. The bear said, "Here, children, knock the snow out of my coat a little." So they brought the broom and swept the bear's hide clean, and he stretched himself by the fire and growled contentedly and comfortably. It was not long before they grew quite a home and played with their clumsy guest. They tugged his hair with their hands, put their feet upon his back, and rolled him about, or they took a hazel switch and beat him, and when he growled they laughed. But the bear took it all in good fun. Only when they were too rough he called out, "Children, children, let me live. Snowy White, Rosy Red, will you beat your lover dead?" When it was bedtime and the others went to bed, the mother said to the bear, "You can lie there by the hearth, and then you will be safe from the cold and the bad weather." As soon as day dawned, the two children let him out, and he trotted across the snow into the forest. From then on, the bear came every evening at the same time, laid himself down by the hearth, and let the children amuse themselves with him as much as they liked, and they got so used to him that the doors were never fastened until their black friend had arrived. The story keeps going. I'm just going to take a break between pages to reapply. There we go. When spring had come and all outside was green, the bear said one morning to Snow White, "Now I must go away and cannot come back for the whole summer." "Where are you going then, dear bear?" asked Snow White. I must go into the forest and guard my treasures from the wicked dwarfs. In the winter, when the earth is frozen hard, they are obligated to stay below and cannot work their way through. But now, when the sun has thawed and warmed the earth, they break through it and come out to pry and steal, and what once gets into their hands and in their caves does not easily see daylight again. Snow White was sad that he was going away, and as she unbolted the door for him and the bear was hurrying out, he caught against the bolt, and a piece of his hairy coat was torn off, and it seemed to Snow White as if she had seen gold shining through it, but she was not sure about it. The bear ran away quickly, and was soon out of sight behind the trees. A short time afterwards the mother sent her children into the forest to get firewood. There they found a big tree which lay felled on the ground, and close by the trunk something was jumping backwards and forwards in the grass, but they could not make out what it was. When they came nearer, they saw a dwarf with an old withered face and a snow-white beard 1 yard long. The end of the beard was caught in a crevice of the tree, and the little fellow was jumping backwards and forwards like a dog tied to a rope, and did not know what to do. He glared at the girls with his fiery red eyes and cried, "Why do you stand there? Can you not come here and help me?" "What are you doing there, little man?" asked Rose Red. "You stupid prying goose," answered the dwarf. "I was going to split the tree to get a little wood for cooking. The little bit of food that no one wants gets burned up directly with thick logs we do not swallow. The little bit of food that one of us wants gets burnt up directly with thick logs we do not swallow so much as you coarse, greedy folk. I had just driven the wedge safely in, and everything was going as I wished, but that wretched wood was too smooth and suddenly sprang apart. The tree closed so quickly that I could not pull out my beautiful white beard, so now it's trapped in and I cannot get away, and the silly, sleek, milk-faced things laugh. Ugh, how hateful you are." The children tried very hard, but they could not pull the beard out. It was caught too tight. "I will run and fetch someone," said Rose Red. "You senseless goose," snarled the dwarf. "Why would you fetch someone? You are already too many for me. Can you not think of something better?" "Don't be impatient," said Snow White. "I will help you." And she pulled her scissors out of her pocket and cut off the end of the beard. As soon as the dwarf felt himself free, he laid hold of a bag which lay among the roots of the tree, which was full of gold, and lifted it up, grumbling to himself, "Rude people to cut off a piece of my fine beard. Bad luck to you." And then he swung the bag upon his back and went off without even once looking at the children. What a bitch. Like, they fucking helped you out. Should have left his ass and taken his gold. Sorry. Personally, I would have immediately put it together, this is one of the bitches that the bear hates, therefore I hate you. Some time after that, Snow White and Rose Red went to catch a dish of fish. They came near the brook. They saw something. As they came near the brook, they saw something like a large grasshopper. Grasshopper, not grasshopper. I can't tell if that's a typo or if they used to be called something different. Jumping towards the water as if they were going to leap in. They ran to it and found it was the dwarf. "Where are you going?" said Rose Red. "You surely don't want to go into the water." "I am no such a fool," cried the dwarf. "Don't you see that accursed fish wants to pull me in?" The little man had been sitting there fishing, and unluckily the wind had twisted his beard with the fishing line. Just then a big fish bit, and the feeble creature had not the strength to pull it out. The fish kept the upper hand and pulled the dwarf towards him. He held on to all the reeds and rushes, but it was of little good. He was forced to follow the movements of the fish, and was in urgent danger of being dragged into the water. The girls came just in time. They held him fast and tried to free his beard from the line, but all in vain. Beard and line were tangled fast together. Nothing was left but to bring out the scissors and cut the beard, whereby a small part of it was lost. When the dwarf saw that, he screamed out, "Is that civil, you toadstool, to disfigure one's face? Was it not enough to clip off the end of my beard? Now you have to cut off the best part of it? I cannot let myself be seen by my people. I wish you'd been made to run the soles off your shoes." Then he took out a sack of pearls which lay in the rushes, and without saying a word more he dragged it away and disappeared behind a stone. It happened that soon afterwards the mother sent the 2 children to the town to buy needles and threads and laces and ribbons. The road led them past a pasture upon which huge pieces of rock lay strewn here and there. Now they noticed a large bird hovering in the air, flying slowly around and around above them. It sank lower and lower, and at last settled near a rock not far off. Directly afterwards they heard a loud, piteous cry. They ran up and saw with horror that the eagle had seized their old acquaintance, the dwarf, and was going to carry him off. The children, full of pity, at once took hold of the little man and pulled against the eagle so long that at last he let his treasure go. As soon as the dwarf had recovered from his first fright, he cried with a shrill voice, "Could you not have done it more carefully? You dragged at my brown coat so that it was all torn and full of holes, you helpless, clumsy creatures." And he took up a sack full of precious stones and slipped away again under the rock into his hole. The girls, who by this time were used to his thanklessness, went on their way and did their business in the town. As they crossed the pasture again on their way home, they surprised the dwarf, who had emptied out his bag of precious stones in a clean spot, and had not thought that anyone would come there so late. The evening sun shone upon the brilliant stones. They glittered and sparkled with all the colors so beautifully that the children stood still and looked at them. "Why do you stand there gaping?" cried the dwarf, and his ashen-gray face became copper-red with rage. He was going on with his bad words when a loud growling was heard, and a black bear came trotting towards them out of the forest. The dwarf sprang up in a fright, but he could not get to his cave, for the bear was already close. Then, in the dread of his heart, he cried, "Dear Mr. Bear, spare me. I will give you all my treasures. Look, the beautiful jewels lying there. Grant me my life. What do you want with such a slender little fellow as I? You will not feel me between your teeth. Come, take these 2 wicked girls. They are tender morsels for you, fat as young quails. For mercy's sake, eat them." The bear took no heed of his words, but gave the wicked creature a single blow with his paw, and he did not move again. Yeah, fuck that bitch. I like how I'm reading stories like a lullaby, but I can't help but insert with my own comments. The girls had run away, but the bear called to them, "Snow White and Rose Red, do not be afraid. Wait, I will come with you." Then they knew his voice and waited, and when he came up to them, suddenly his bearskin fell off, and he stood there, a handsome man clothed all in gold. "I am a king's son," he said, "and I was bewitched by that wicked dwarf who had stolen my treasures. I have had to run about the forest as a savage bear until I was freed by his death. Now he has got his well-deserved punishment." That's the ending. Speedrun. Snow White was married to him, and Rose Red to his brother, and they divided between them the great treasure which the dwarf had gathered together in his cave. The old mother lived peacefully and happily with her children for many years. She took the 2 rose trees with her, and they stood before her window, and every year bore the most beautiful roses, white and red. I'm sorry, the ending is just so funny to me, and it's like, and then the bear turned into a man, and then the man just married one of the sisters, and his brother married the other one. Of course. They're children. And I'm assuming this is a grown-ass man. But it's fine. But it's not. Yeah. That was only one that I just read, but I actually think I'm gonna save the stories that have been used for Disney stories and read those in their own video. And just, it'll be like a reading the Grimm Tales version of Disney ones. So I'll compile those all together, I think. And then maybe I'll even try to find that book and then read the Grimm's Tales that inspired some of the Disney princess movies as well. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So, to finish off this video, though, there's one of the children's legends that was on the legends page. Number 3 is called The Rose, the Rose, the Rose, which again, fitting. So that's page 644. So let's do that one really quick. Now it's like all the way at the end. There's 652 pages total. There we go. Look, it's the shortest. It's a paragraph. The Rose. There was once a poor woman who had 2 children. The youngest had to go every day into the forest to fetch wood. Once she had gone a long way to seek it, a little child who was quite strong came and helped her industriously to pick up the wood and carry it home, and then before a moment had passed, that strange child disappeared. The child told her mother this, but at first she would not believe it. At length she brought a rose home and told her mother that the beautiful child had given her this rose, and had told her that when it was in full bloom he would return. The mother put the rose in water. One morning her child could not get out of bed. The mother went to the bed and found her dead, but she lay looking very happy. On the same morning, the rose was in full bloom. That's...
How do you interpret that?
I thought there was gonna be like and they got married and lived happily ever after.
But that made it sound like the child, like...
It was definitely not an actual child. It was a spirit of some kind. But that was really cool. I actually liked that. I wish it was longer, but I do find the short little legends and stuff intriguing, like and the really short stories in here. Like, Red Riding Hood's a pretty short story. That one's only like 2 pages. You'd be surprised. A lot of those like classic ones the originals are actually pretty short.
But yeah,
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And besides the whole reading the, Grimm versions of popular Disney stories, and then maybe Grimm's versions of some of the Barbie stories, I think there's overlap between the two that'll just probably be combined. But let me know what other stories from that book you would be interested in me reading. And I'm gonna wrap up this video soon because my neighbors are getting crazy with the fireworks. It's not July 4th, by the way.